Hello and welcome back to the Common Colt Podcast. The Colts Podcast with real takes and no clickbait. I'm Josh Hudgens, joined by Dan Hertzler. Dan, what's going on?
Not much. Not much. Some big news dropped here on a Friday afternoon. Arizona Cardinals released DeAndre Hopkins, one of the premier receivers really out there in the NFL. A lot of people thought they were going to trade him. They just flat out released him. Pretty big news for the Colts. I saw Colts kind of mentioned a few times in some tweets about possible landing spot. Josh, what do you think? Do you think the Colts will do this?
Well, it's interesting. I know around draft time, there was some rumors of the Colts trading for pick number 3 and maybe getting Hopkins in a trade like that. Obviously, that didn't come to fruition. So when you think about DeAndre Hopkins, a big name receiver, this is a lot different than just signing a camp body guy who you sign for camp and it doesn't matter if he doesn't work out. This is kind of a big deal that can impact a locker room. So the Colts do have to think about this a little bit. And I think today we're going to talk about, should they do this? Like, if they could actually do it, should they? And will they do it? I mean, is this something Ballard would actually do? And is this something DeAndre Hopkins wants to come to, knowing that the Colts aren't a Super Bowl contender? And that's my question to you, Dan. Should the Colts sign DeAndre Hopkins?
Yeah, let's answer that first question right off the bat. 100% the Colts should go after DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, this is something that I kind of marked after the draft, was that I think receiver is still a huge position of need for a veteran player, because really they have nobody outside of, Pierce and Pittman on the outside. They don't have that veteran presence. One injury, something that happens. I mean, this Colts receiver core, which it looks good now on paper and nice and young, still needs that veteran presence, and they don't have a player like a DeAndre Hopkins. As good as we might think Michael Pittman is, and I know he's debated, and I'm not really high on him, but he's nowhere near. I think we can all agree he's nowhere near DeAndre Hopkins, and so this would be a home run. Not only a home run for the wide receivers, but this would be a home run for Anthony Richardson. What does a young quarterback need? He needs a guy that can go get the ball. And you throw the ball anywhere near DeAndre Hopkins, he's going to go get it. So some of those accuracy issues, some of those development issues that Anthony Richardson's going to go through, DeAndre Hopkins is the absolute perfect fit. This, to me, is a no-brainer. The Colts should do it.
Yeah, guys, and let us know, do you think they should sign DeAndre Hopkins? I want to see that in the comments. I'm genuinely curious. I've seen some debate in chat on Twitter and Facebook. For me, when I look at this and whether or not it makes sense for the Colts or not, you do have to consider, what's this contract going to cost us? I know we're going to have the cap for it, but Odell Beckham signed a contract for right around $18 million or so this offseason. We have to assume this contract's going to be that or more for maybe a year or two longer than that. He's entering 31 years old. He's been a little nicked up. He's had some suspensions, whatever.
Yep.
Realistically, we're not contenders. So I'm sitting here thinking, knowing that money could be spent elsewhere, and knowing that we have young receivers who would be having snaps taken away from them, I'm not sure if it's a slam dunk no-brainer that we should just go get this guy. Are we going to cut into Alec Pierce's snaps if we play Hopkins outside with Michael Pittman Jr.? Josh Downs is going to be in the slot. And then I look at the linebacker situation with how thin the position is already, and then Shaq Leonard's health still in the air. I look at the right guard position, and I'm like, I'm not sure. We got an undrafted rookie we're talking about maybe starting for us. I just don't think it's a slam dunk move, but I do think the Colts should upgrade the receiver position, and maybe we'll talk about that in a second. But do you think there's any shot this happens? Like on 1 to 10 scale, how likely do you think this is going to be?
Yeah, well, first let me just say you're 100% wrong that they should be 100% in. Okay, this is just a no-brainer. They should be in. Now the question shifts: will they? And we've got some big questions there. You got Ballard, who we call him bargain bin Ballard.
Yeah,
he's not going to spend that money. You got the question of DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, he's listed some teams he wants to play for. The Colts were not on those teams. But you know what? Maybe he looks here and says, "Hey, it's late in the process. I can't get that multi-million-dollar free agent money that I was looking for. Maybe I'm going to look for a 1-year deal, and I'll go to the Colts and prove that I still got it, and then I'll hit big at the end of next offseason." And then you ask the question, does it take away from some of these young receivers? You know what? Whether it takes away or not, they can still learn and grow under someone like him. So I don't concern myself with that. I think the question is going to come down more to, will Ballard actually want to spend $20 million for 1 year on a receiver when you listed all those other positions? and will Hopkins want to come here? So well, the likelihood, I'm actually going to put this at a 6 out of 10. I know that's a little higher than maybe some Colts fans would think, but I'm just doing that because we've got the money. And I think in the end of the day, DeAndre Hopkins might look at what Shane Steichen can bring, might look at what Anthony Richardson has with that big arm, might look at a 1-year deal for a $20 million guaranteed and just say, hey, I'll do it for 1 year. And so that's our only hope. But I'm going to say it's a 6 because I just think, man, this could really put the Colts in a huge position to go out and win the division when you get a player this caliber on their offense.
Yeah, obviously Hopkins did list his top 5 quarterbacks: Allen, Hurts, Mahomes, Jackson, or Herbert, or his top 5 guys he wants to play with. In his career, he has played with some pretty bad quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to want to come to Indy. First of all, I'm a Colts fan. I bleed blue, but Indy is not a destination where free agents want to come. I mean, we're just boring. We're a boring state. You look around, there's corn. I mean, it's nothing enticing. You look at what Ballard brings as a GM, and he's not known for moves like this. You look at where Hopkins is in his career, where first of all, he wants to play with an established quarterback, and he probably wants to win some games. And right now in the NFL, the way the league's changed, teams who are Super Bowl contenders are actually making moves and cap moves to free space up. Teams like the Eagles or someone along those lines could possibly make a move for him. I know the Chiefs were kind of linked to him. The Bills were linked to him. I think it'll be tough because their cap situations. For me, I'm putting it on a 2 or a 3 in likelihood. I think Ballard is known to be a bargain bin shopper, and I could see it more likely that we sign a Jarvis Landry and still sign a right guard, and all of a sudden we've got maybe a boost on the line and a veteran presence to help out those receivers and kind of rotate them in and out. I think that's more likely, just given the Colts' history and what Hopkins wants at this stage in his career.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you at all. I think those are really valid points. I do think certain teams are out. I don't think the Chargers are in. I don't think the Ravens are going to be in. I don't think the Eagles are going to be in. They just, maybe the Ravens, I should say. I shouldn't say them quite yet. But the other two teams, they've got established wide receiver core. They don't have the cap space. I think the Chiefs are realistic. I think the Bills are realistic. Who knows? Another wild card could be the Lions are out there. Again, I just don't know what DeAndre Hopkins values. Does he value the money? Is he going to value the team and the success? If it's the money, the Colts have a shot. If it's the team success, not really much. And so that's what's going to hurt us. And then again, Ballard and I don't know. I just sometimes wish I could kick that jumpstart button a little bit in him and just say, hey, take a risk. This to me is one of those ones where you take that risk. But you're probably likely that it's not going to happen. So I can't argue with you.
Yeah, and I honestly, helping out your rookie quarterback, it does make sense in a way to, hey, let's get a good receiver for the guy to rely on. Third down, 3rd and 8. Let's, when in doubt, boom, throw it to Hopkins.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
I mean,
Hopkins is down there somewhere. I'll throw it to him.
So, I mean, we've seen it with Andrew Luck and Reggie Wayne back in the day, obviously. So, I mean, it is a great tool for young quarterbacks, and they help them read coverages and see things differently that maybe inexperienced wide receivers wouldn't. It's a lot deeper than just a guy who's better at catching the football and better getting open.
Yeah.
I think sometimes that gets maybe lost. One other real quick thing I want to mention, and something we've been working on. Dan's actually got a shirt on that's from Homage. Homage sent us some shirts, some vintage NFL kind of Colts apparel. We got a link in our description. If you guys want to check that out, it would mean a lot to us, and maybe see if there's something you guys like on there. So if the Colts don't sign Hopkins, who are you thinking they get?
Oh man, I think they're going to kind of wait until kind of the June 1 deadline, and I think they're saving their money for some positions. So as Colts Nation, we need to be on the look for guys that are getting cut or something happening. I think there's a reason why they have this cap space, and they're going to use it. So I'm anticipating that if it's not Hopkins, it's going to be, like you said, inside linebacker, could be a guard. Could be that veteran receiver. Might be, again, Ballard's bargains. Could be 3 players, but we're going to get somebody. That's for sure.
Yeah. Guys, let us know what you think in the comments. Obviously, if you could take a moment to subscribe to our channel, it would mean a lot to us. Hey, thanks again for watching the Common Cold Podcast, and have a great day.